Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final episode of FineTuned. If you don't know me, my name is Camille Ryder, and I am a senior in James River High School's Specialty Center for Leadership and International Relations. Before we get started, I have to thank all of you for watching and participating in this project. I hope that you've been able to find the joy that I love so much and so many others love that comes with interacting with music. In addition, I'd like to thank the Specialty Center, especially my teacher advisor, without whom this project would not have been possible. And finally, I would like to thank all of the participants and interviewees who participated in this project. They are amazing and wonderful teachers and musicians, and I'm so happy that people like them are walking in the world, making it a better place day by day through music. I'm so excited for you all to watch this interview with Valentina Peleggi. She is the new Richmond Symphony music director, and she has inspired me so much in just the short time that I've been able to interact with her. I hope that you are inspired by her too. If you want, there's more information about her down below. Also check out a few of the links that I have left for feedback, comments, questions. Anything is appreciated. I am so thankful that you guys have been on this journey with me, and I hope you enjoyed this final episode. I hope you learned something. Okay, hello everyone. I am here with Maestra Peleggi, and I would love for you to start off with an introduction of how you got started in music.
Hi Camille, hi everybody. Music is a great passion for me as for you, I guess. I've always loved music, but when I was a kid, I wasn't really sure. It was one of my passions. I would also play tennis or, play soccer and read. But then there was a moment where I really felt something deep with music that I've never felt with any other activities that I was doing. And that was the moment where I went on stage for the first time for singing with the children choir. Of course, I played before. I played a bit of piano, a bit of violin, and then I passed a switch to clarinet, and then a bit of flute, and then I come back to the piano. But until that time, that was the moment where I started singing, and there was this, we were singing Carmina Burana, or you say Carmina Burana. I say Carmina Burana because I quite like the consonants. But and there was a huge orchestra in front of me, this huge choir behind me, and I, when everything starts, that has this explosion of sound, and I felt like boom, something in my chest. It was so full, and then I saw this man waving his arms and conducting and smiling, and for the first time, he was Zubin Mehta anyway. He was a great conductor. For the first time, I felt part of something bigger than me. I felt that what I was offering, it was something so small, like a child singing or a small light, that was meaningful, that was important as everybody. So I was very touched, and that's how I started feeling really curious and interested in music. And then from then on, I started, sneaking in all the rehearsals I could. And then, of course, I started studying seriously, and that led me to study abroad. So I left my country, Italy. I went to study to London, and then I started my professional career that, is flying in all the continents. So I was meeting wonderful people, wonderful artists.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I was reading up, and you were the first Italian woman at the London Academy, correct?
So yes, that's on the road. Yes.
So, as a conductor, you've done so many different things, and I don't think anyone has a career very similar to what you have accumulated. So what have you learned from doing so many different things and being so many different places?
I've learned that music is always the same in the way that really connects people in a very deep meaning, but each culture is different. wherever I go, if I go to South America, if I go to the States, if I stay in Italy, if I go to London, if I go to Australia, New Zealand, France, Germany, each place has a different approach to how to make music together. It's a different approach, to a cultural approach to bringing people together. And that's something that I've learned by experience, not something that you can learn on books or just, chatting with a friend. And when you conduct, you really have this responsibility of, embracing everybody. So it has to do with some really cultural background. So you have to be flexible in this, but it's so wonderful to have the chance to really see how, different our cultures, but how each different culture respects and value the power of music.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting how different music can be, and how, especially, I've been doing some work with some gamelan and erhu, and it's really interesting how people interpret different simply just different pitches, like the minor third. It doesn't mean the same everywhere.
It's true. It's a language, right? So the same piece or the same intervals it just feel different. It has a different, probably not such different meaning, but slightly different context.
Yeah. So, just as a conductor, when you are standing on the podium, what goes through your mind? What are your goals when you're conducting?
That's a very good question. And very difficult to reply. I can tell you the moment, the journey to the podium is a very long one. It takes sometimes months of studies, months of, with these huge scores that, I bring, everywhere I go, because the preparation is really long, and the preparation happens always in silence. It's not, like you play an instrument and you're surrounded, you produce the sound. Conductors just are in a room or in the station or wherever they are with the book open. And there's nothing you can do apart from reading it and close your eyes and try to really imagine that sound. It's not even listening to recordings, because this helps until a certain moment. You have to create when you conduct. It's something very strange that happens, because on one side you have to listen to what the orchestra is really producing at that moment, because otherwise you couldn't correct, for example, right? But at the very same time, another part of your brain, it has to look ahead and be ahead of time, in order to just, that accent has to be that. So you already are in the future while you are in the present. So it's something very strange. But so what happens, I don't know, the moment I walk on stage, of course you are thinking about, tempo wise and the atmosphere and everything. And from the moment you take your baton and breathe, give the first breath, I don't know how to explain to you. Just, this is just, you just enter in another dimension. There's no time for thinking about anything else. It's just, probably is what is real concentration, or just, I don't know, these athletes that really, brain is, you enter in another world.
Yeah, I think a lot of people find that with music. So when you're conducting, what do you want the audience to know or gain?
I don't want the audience to know anything specific. I would like them to feel. I would like them to feel what we feel. And a performance, a concert, I think it works when first the conductor and the orchestra feel something real together. That's, if we feel you really know for sure that it's a shared moment. And I think, you know, it happens in the orchestra. There are specific moments where, I don't know, something clicks, and you know that you are there, you exist in that moment. You know, you use the musical language for really existing for real. And that's something that you can, you know, if you share this moment with the audience, I think it's the best gift that we can offer.
Yeah, I've actually asked that question to a few people, and I love how that's kind of the general gist of the answer is if you are feeling something when you perform, people will respond. And I really love that. So you have done a lot, I mentioned earlier, as a woman conductor, and I don't think there are enough female conductors in the music world. So what are some challenges you faced as a woman and a conductor? Because I think it hasn't been very long since women have been conducting.
Yes, true. I'm very glad though that you know, finally some doors are opening, and I can see every year more and more women going to this wonderful profession, and I see every month more and more students that are interested in this. So this really makes my heart feeling full and hopeful. Of course, there are challenges, and anything that is kind of new is it needs to be worked, and there is still a lot of work to do. But I always like to think about I always like to stay on the positive side, because of course there are challenges, and this is a reality. But I also want to say that nothing is impossible. Really, nothing is impossible. And for us women, we have to feel free ourselves first. We really have to feel free to desire to be whoever we want to be, or become whoever we want to become. If we really feel this freedom, then there is nothing is impossible. And I'm here to testimony this. So
yeah, were there any female conductors who inspired you to feel free?
Yes. And this conductor that I'm going to mention was actually the first woman associate conductor of the Richmond Symphony, who was Maestra. So, and this is also a part of the reason why I am in Richmond, because she really inspired me so much, and she spoke so beautifully about not only the Richmond Symphony, but also the Richmond community. That for the first time, you know, that was the first community that actually offered her to allow to be herself and to learn. They recognized talent and enthusiasm, and they offer her a chance before she become this world-class conductor. So yes, Marin also.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. Women inspire women.
Yes.
So I'm going to do a bit of a transition, and you became the Richmond Symphony conductor at a really crazy time. So the pandemic shut down Richmond like right at this around the same time. It was getting pretty serious. So how has that experience changed you, or even your musical approach?
That's a good question, and it's true. I was in Richmond for my auditions for 2 weeks, and we did the first week with Masterworks, and we had this rehearsal together. And then in week 2, we were supposed to have some educational concerts, and I remember a program with the ballet, Appalachian Spring. But then we did one show, and everything was cancelled, and that was the start of everything. And then it was this mad run to the flights, and flights started to cancel, and you know, all all started. But yes, it is true. Of course, these are really exceptional times and just very complicated. And especially what really, I think, hit me for sure, but probably in general, people, was just this new experience of isolation. We have been so used to be connected and to just be around people, and that suddenly, just being in your flat and just with lockdown, and so it really made me experience a different kind of approach to time and to silence. To silence, because I'm so used to be surrounded by sound, either if it's a concert that I'm producing or a rehearsal, or it's just sound is part of who I am, of what I do, what I like to do. And then finally having this silence all around me. I mean, the city stopped, no cars, and I mean, it's crazy. What happened? It happened that I started to, instead of going out and receiving the sound, I started to do the opposite and try to listen myself better. And that was a very, very interesting thing, because, all the sound, all the, who you are, it comes from inside. So I thought it was important to connect with a part of myself, for example, that, it wasn't so common to explore in other normal times, but also a different approach to sound. Because the first time I had the chance to conduct after a couple of months of just silence, it was so strong that I almost cried. It was just such a relief. It's like, I don't know, experience something after such a long time for the first time, touching without touching. It was a blessing. It was just, remember how lucky we are.
Yeah, I think a lot of musicians are still waiting for that moment, and that must have been really stressful too, because you didn't quite get to finish out your audition or your trial, and that must have been really scary too. I can't imagine.
Yes, but on the other side, I am very, very proud that the Richmond Symphony is one of the few orchestras and organizations in the States, but not only the States, that actually are performing and keep offering the community music, and just either in person or via live stream is something so important. It's like a mission. We're having these programs also for elderly people, or for the schools that are virtual. So we're really working hard, and we really believe that we need this. Our community need the music to be connected, especially now.
Yeah, definitely. I love there have been so many videos that have come out of people playing on their violin on their balconies and just throwing things together. And I really love how music has transcended and is probably going to be, the new music that's coming out is going to be inspired and probably going to shift. So with that in mind, as a person who has worked in so many different countries, how did that change your perspective of the music industry during the pandemic?
Well, for sure, it was a big revelation. The digital world, the possibility to stream, the possibility to reach out even more people in a different way and different context. The possibility to actually record from where you are. And I mean, these media, I think that we're very far from, you mentioned an industry. In a way, it is, in a classical industry, has been just by the way it is quite traditional. So I think that it can benefit a lot from this breadth of new technologies that has been developed. Of course, there's no technology that can substitute the real music, the music in person, but it can help. It can broaden audiences and possibilities, and to reach also people that are not actually able to come back in person yet. So I think this is a fantastic thing.
Yeah, I think it's very similar with how our schools are working, is everyone is kind of making the final shift to being able to be virtual. And obviously just with learning, or even learning in music, virtual won't replace live learning, but now that everything is becoming digitized, it is a great opportunity, and I really like that perspective. So
I've been, for example, attending lectures from universities, around the world, just sitting, in my living room. That was amazing. It's a wonderful resource.
yeah, and I remember at the beginning, the Berlin Philharmonic did I think it's still available. They started a free trial for their digital concert hall, and that,
Yes.
Gotta love
this is something that is so wonderful. It's just keeps offering something that is accessible, and accessibility is just so important, just not only in classical music. It's just open up the doors and invite as many people as you can. It's just offer the possibility to access, and then regardless to if you like, if you don't like it, it doesn't matter at the first moment. You just have to allow to have free access.
I think there's a misconception in the United States that classical music is something for the upper class, but that's really not true at all. And I think if you look at any other place in the world, it's very different, and it's for everyone. So yeah, I'm glad it's changing now. The perception is changing. So this is more of a follow-up question, but what are you looking forward to in the music community? What gets you excited right now?
Right now, just the possibility to connect with our community. This is something so important, and how to connect, always to have in mind excellence. How we do things is much more important sometimes than what you do. How you do it, how you want to become is much more important than what you want to become. Is something so important, and in the end it makes all the difference, and can apply to anything. Can apply to music, can apply to life, can apply to any job. Quality and really believing, and if you choose to do something, there must be a very profound reason, and it's not a reason that you can explain. It's a reason that moves you every time to the next step, and to go deeper and deeper, and to grow and let people grow with you.
Yeah, I really like that take on things. So how has Richmond, you mentioned that your inspiration felt connected to Richmond and felt open in Richmond. So how has Richmond stuck out to you?
Well, from the very first moment I actually started rehearsing with the orchestra, and that was in March last year, when it was actually possible to rehearse such a huge repertoire on stage. After the first 5 minutes, I already knew that was a very special orchestra. It is a feeling. It's really hard to put it into words. I can try, but music is a language, and what we do is something non-verbal. It is made of gestures and looking at people and see how we react. Is always a communication between a conductor and the orchestra, and leadership is not always pushing. Leadership is enable people to offer their best, to create a channel of communication where you can actually create something together. So that's why it's so delicate as a profession, because it's like when you hold hands, and you cannot only push or pull, but you have this feeling that something is, if you click, then you move together. And we did move together. mostly from the very, after the first minutes. And this is very rare to happen. I conducted really, in different countries, different continents, and that was the first time that such a connection started from the very beginning. So from that very moment, I knew that it could work.
Yeah, so I know you probably can't say a lot about this, but the Richmond Symphony has not had a new conductor in a long time. So do you have any general goals? Because your role is very important, it's going to affect the community. So what are your goals for what you're going to do as the director?
So as a music director, I'm responsible of the artistic level. At the same time, working together with the executive director, we lead the organization to a vision. And this shared vision is really to be the best we can do, to reflect Richmond. Richmond is a wonderful, wonderful city, but there are many Richmonds at the same time. And we really want to be as inclusive as possible. We want to reach out and we want to connect these different sides of the city, and in a celebration, it's just, open arms and invite to be who you are together with other people, with other neighbors and people that share with you the same passion, the same musical passion, for example. We want to be as creative and innovative as we can be, especially in these times. And we want to be relevant to our community, not only reflect it, but offer something that is needed. And in this moment is connection and quality.
I really love that, and I'm really excited to see what you do. I love music so much. I just want more people to, feel the same way that we feel when, you listen or you perform. So do you have any final messages for anyone who may watch this, for someone who might not have known anything about music or might not have the opportunity to learn?
That everybody's welcome. You don't need to be other than yourself. Just, open up your heart, have a good time, bring a friend. That is important because sharing an experience is the best gift you can have. And enjoy life. The music is just, a way of being. It's just a way of breathing music. We breathe music for the first time when you woke up. It's just, the way. It's a way of being. It's a way of living with others. Is building up a community based on respect and appreciation. And music making is just, being in a social world that is based on love. That's really about it. So if you love, if you want to love, if you want to live with a deep meaning, just come and have the best time with us, and we'll make sure that we'll enjoy together.
Yes, well, thank you so much for taking the time to let me pick your brain a little bit. I am really excited to just see what you do, and just thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching this video. It means the world to me that you guys are interacting with the wonderful music community that we have here in Richmond. Please feel free to reach out and look at what I've been doing with this project at some of the links below. I am so grateful to have had this opportunity, and I hope you all learned something. Thank you for staying tuned.